Good morning. Recently, I attended an online conference about trauma. My ears perked up when I heard speakers mention the trauma experienced by marginalized groups, including the LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer community. I have long had compassion for the stress of other marginalized groups, particularly for people who have experienced the trauma of racism. But I never thought about the trauma I might have experienced. Ultimately, having compassion for others led me to have deeper self-understanding. One of the speakers used the metaphor of a frog in the pot who doesn't feel the temperature of the water going up because it is getting hotter gradually. In my case, I was the frog and firstly was able to get out of the pot before it was cooked entirely. I looked up lesbian and bisexual women and saw that we are more likely to die early from conditions related to obesity. Some of the things I learned at the conference are that regardless of who we are, we have all experienced trauma of some kind. We're born into a trauma-inducing world. We're also born with the trauma of past generations in our bodies. This is called ancestral trauma. As Resma Medicum, a specialist on trauma and racism and the author of My Grandmother's Hands, points out, we all have animal bodies, and that is where trauma resides. He says that we may have an intellectual knowledge of trauma, but that is not enough. We have to let our animal bodies know repeatedly that it's safe to recover from trauma. At the conference, I learned that it's important not to minimize the trauma we have been through. It is important not to compare our own trauma to that of others. The trauma that you have been through might justifiably enrage you. The trauma that others have endured might also justifiably enrage you. Sit with their rage, feel it, and let it go. My personal takeaway from the conference is that once we address our own trauma, it's easier not to react to other people's trauma in a negative way, meaning that it is easier to act as a force for good in the world. After attending the conference, I came up with a meditation that I do frequently that I call the kindness meditation. You're invited to try it with me as I place one hand over my heart and send myself kindness. I feel kindness like a light, like warmth entering my body, letting me know that it's safe to begin healing. We'll begin now. Namaste.